Isn't Tampa bad too?
Well, I'm not in Tampa, but Susie's my neighbor.
Oh,
We drove up to North Carolina on Thursday.
there's no place that's
Two
good.
stops, that was it, 2 stops.
But you still have to kind of be careful where you are now because you don't know where you.
We're in our little town. There's only been 9 cases in this little town, and all we did was change locations. I mean, we've gone to the grocery store, and then we're home. So,
Yeah.
so
Well,
Very
Just got a
scary.
notice on a restaurant by us in Illinois is at 4%. They're closed because they had somebody come in that was infected, and that's right by me.
I'm going to just take a break for a moment. Hi, Sheila. Poor Sheila's always, I'm going to mute you, Sheila. I love you, but I'm muting you. I know her phone number, but she always has static. There we go. I don't see Rabbi, but I'm sure she's here.
yes, I saw she's on.
Here, but I didn't want to interrupt everyone's conversation when I came on.
Okay. So it's 1 o'clock, everybody. And, oh, Sandy, baby, you want to tell the rabbi something?
Yeah, I can't text because I'm driving. Merrill Raskin, who is a past branch president of Eastern Pennsylvania, her husband Raymond passed away.
Oh, no.
Okay,
She's
so
a
we'll add that to the
past
cottage
grand-
list.
Yeah.
Wyatt.
What's the full name?
Raymond.
Raskin, what's his
All right.
first name?
Raskin.
R-A-S-K-I-N, Raskin.
No, his first name.
Raymond.
Raymond.
He died of COVID.
It was in a Jewish Exponent this Friday. I thought.
Well, may he rest in peace. Okay, so I'm sorry to hear that, but we're gonna mute everyone. Rabbi, good morning or afternoon, whatever, wherever, whatever.
Yeah,
And-
somehow I'm not the host. Just
Oh, hold on.
1 minute.
Yeah.
Now I am. I hope it
Okay.
is live streaming. Okay.
All right.
And I came on, everyone was talking. I've learned not to interrupt when people are talking. So I didn't want to jump in and tell everybody I was here, but I'm here. I was muted myself. So it was good to see everybody here today. And I am hoping that Mimi is prepared to read our Mishaberach list, and wonderful, thank you. She's shaking her head yes. So very good. And I unmuted you as you unmuted yourself.
Okay.
It's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Refuah Shlema to Jace Diaz, Shaya Eliyahu ben Miriam, Rona Meir ben Yonina, Yenta Hodus bat Esther, Binyamin ben Shmuel Valeya, David ben Sarah, Toiba bat Hana, Elisa Lazarus, Tim Wilson, Rachel Tesa bat Sarah, Mordechai ben Ita, Jerry Katz, Sarah Karen, Bert Berlin, Alan Goldberg, Shimona bat Sarah, Susan Folk, Shmuel ben Dov Ve'Erica, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Malka Shifra bat Etta Ruchel, Martin Mazie, Loretta Mazie, Vicky Lockatone, Adrian Sondheimer, Dov Ben Etta, Trudy Spector, Eleanor Clow, Rivka bat Avram, Barbara Brown, James Granis, Tabel Rivka bat Hensha Baila, Stephanie Holt, Birish Ben Hana, Marcella Kaplan, Maura Fortunaro, Sherry Dreyfus, B. Reynolds, Joyce Holzer, Wendy Holzer, Daniel Ett, Anna Butler, Susan Robinson, Yosel Ben Nahum, Malka Bat Ita, Elaine Galens, Paula Kaplan, Ray Morris, Sadada Bat Rivka, Skylar Logano, Paul Ufer, Randy Bat Sarah, Aviva Bat Chaya, Gabrielle Ben Root, Dina Laya Bat Sarah Vidovik Yitzchak, Reut Bat Chana, Irene Ivanovsky, Patricia Franswick, Debbie Wilk, Gregory Labato, Abraham Yona Ben Sarah Leah, Shoshana Bat Zikl, Zisel Bat Chana, Joan Sitver, Moshe Yosef Ben Miriam, Shauna Stein, Esther Perel Botfagel, Paul Freeman, Jill Alperin, Ira Morrison, Italea Botfredel, Lisa Raymond, Barry Shapiro, Steve Schreiber, Toby Levy, Audrey S., Loette Labinger, Gina Seaman, Lori Schlisman, Esther Batliba, Louis Abelak, Moshe David Ben Shalom, Yosef Pesach Ben Penina Esther, Mattis Yehud Ben Shoshana, Shimon Ben Esther, Robert Rudnick, Dana Saltzman, Robert Levine, Devorah Batlea, James Donovan, Aaron Ben Chana, Beverly Weinberg, Marcy Strickle, Tova Shailan, Hannah Shore, Andy Goldstone, Ephraim Ben Yehuda David, Gittel Bat Rivka, Amy Seltzer Perlman, Carl Kennelly, Diane Kasoy, Sarah Ben Sarah, David Halevi Ben Asher, Michael Yosel, and Faiva Eliyahu Ben Hannah Gittel. We wish them all refuah shlema.
Thank you. And if anyone has any other names that they would like to add, you can unmute yourself and add them at this time. And Toby Mazer will be leading us in singing Mishaberach today.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Hey, we wish everybody a speedy recovery. Thank you, Mimi, for reading, and Yasher Koach Toby for singing. Beautiful voice. I love hearing everybody. And you know what? We can all sing, so you don't have to be the most beautiful, though everyone somehow seems to have beautiful voices. So please do, I can't remember everything, so if you do want to sing and you haven't yet led, please do contact me or Margie. So that would be great. So thank you. So we are up to Psalm 68, which is a long psalm. And so I broke it up into 3 days so that we don't have our sessions too long. Plus, I know that the person who's supposed to be teaching on Friday is doing 69, and that's divided up for 2 days. So I had to make sure that I'm in the right length. But it could be that we'll do it a little shorter, and then I'll just go out of order and go to somewhere else, to a different psalm. After all, we have 150 to go to. So we have a lot more we can do. We're halfway there. So even though it's a very long psalm, I have to say the book that I primarily used to find my sources didn't have the most interesting information. So I went to Cincino, also another printer. But a few things about the psalm. Overall, I'll talk about this for all 36 verses. There's some communities that the psalm is recited on Shavuot. Verses 5 and 6 are part of the prayers recited following the Motzei Shabbat Mariv, so Saturday night evening service. Verse 20 is in part of the prayer called Uva L'Tzion. It's the long paragraph that said 2 different times, well, at least 2 different times. One, sometimes people skip it, and Shacharit in the morning during the week, you do Ashrei, then you do a paragraph from Psalms, Lamanatseach, and then this whole long paragraph of Uva L'Tzion. Or if you go to Saturday night afternoon services, Mincha, you do Ashrei, and then you do this paragraph of Uva L'Tzion. So verse 20 is in that prayer called Uvalat Zion, named that because of their first words. And verses 35 and 36 are also in part of the verses that we say in the paragraph V'hu Rachum in Psukei de Zimra, so the morning warm-up prayers. There was some secular uses too, but I don't really know if anyone would know what I was referring to, and I didn't find it that interesting. But the second part, we'll do that when we get to the third day of this, actually. Verse 31 has a reference that's used as a national motto of Ethiopia. Well, it was formerly used as a national motto of Ethiopia because of the Hebrew word kush. The psalmist's thoughts, all are mighty, but we have to remember that we're not the mightiest. The mightiest of the mighty is God. And often we have to think that if people take their power too strongly, these mighty people might be indifferent to the little person. But we really have to be like God and godlike, in that we're created B'Tselem Elohim, that even if God's the mightiest, even if we may have the highest position, that we all take care of all people, no matter who they are. And you'll see reference to how God takes care of the orphans, the widows, and and those who are in need. And that the mighty should come down from their clouds to be with the people, that it's a message to all of us, that you have to really come down and work with everyone. I remember that I took a administrative management and education class with Rabbi Michael Greenbaum at JTS when I was an undergrad. And it was great because he was my friend's father, but studying with him was even greater. And I remember him giving us something to read where it's said about like the head management person, like the head of the company decided to go into the factory and work with the factory workers and like clean or something like that. But he showed this person who owned the factory, worked with the factory workers to show that he wasn't greater than them, that he could go out and work with them on the fields, in the field, in the factory with everyone, that even if you're an administrative, that you have to bring yourself down. And one of the thoughts in this psalm is that you're not so mighty that you can't come down and help all people. And we have to remember that God is the mightiest of all, that we're not the most powerful, which was interesting after coming in, thinking about this. And I'm going to stop share so I could see people. Sorry about that. And even when I'm sharing, you can actually put into gallery view, but now we can see each other. So that we're not so mighty, that things are out of our hands, that even the greatest scientists can't solve this situation now. It reminded me of that as you were all talking about where this pandemic is now increasing. And I think I came in while you were talking about Tampa and a restaurant in Illinois, and it's the mighty can't figure it out either. Just how you can relate it to life today. So a few of the themes that are in the psalm. There's the utter defeat of one of Israel's enemies seen. It describes a defeat as being so comprehensive that many commentators are convinced that it must refer to the defeat of the armies of Sennacherib, we don't really all study about, who abandoned their siege on Jerusalem and ran away. So one of these enemies that was so bad, they had a siege on Jerusalem, but they ran away because the power of the Israelites and God behind us. Second theme is the theme of the experience at Sinai, probably the greatest place that God revealed God's self, God's revelation that took place, and it was holy. But if you remember the Midrash, the story about which mountain it was going to be on, Mount Sinai was the most humble mountain. So the theme that even in the highest of places and the most amazing of situations, you have to be humble out like Mount Sinai was. And that God's concerned with the lowliest of humans, with all humans, the poor, the desolate, recognition that the Lord bears our burdens day by day. When we cry, God cries. And the prescription of the antidote that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So this is towards the second half that we'll talk about more later, but that power can corrupt people that possess the power. And it can make someone preoccupied with oneself, but that's not God. God remembers that God's not preoccupied with oneself, and God cares about all human beings. So really to remember that God is in charge. People have said that this psalm is most magnificent because it's the ideas of thought and language in it. The idea of when it was possibly written. There's some say that it was connected with the revelation at Sinai. Who knows? Some say that the writing of this was anywhere over a 10-century period. Who knows that either? Or it was an occasion in a lifetime of David. So it's like the heading of the psalm will be Lamenatzeach LeDavid, and it may be one of his, as I said earlier, one of his psalms where he has a triumph over one of his enemies, neighboring enemies, or the removal of the ark to Zion, that whole situation. So the psalm talks about it's a monument of invincible faith. It's our can't even pronounce it. We don't extinguish, instead of putting it in one word, we do not extinguish our hope of Israel. Something that's very important now as well. We always have tikva. We always have hope that things will improve. And the prophecy of the spiritual glories that has not yet come. It's always that we're praying for the future. And we're always looking towards the future. The basic theme of that, the triumphant march of God, when was that most apparent? The revelation at Sinai. And as every time we study Torah and study any Torah, meaning any Jewish text, that's also the continuation of the revelation, looking at it as a conservative rabbi in 2020. And it's a history lesson, the history of Israel and our relationship with God, our hope that we have with God, our most important thing, our covenant with God that was solidified at the revelation at Sinai. And that God's kingship or rulership, similar to what's said in the end of Aleinu, will be recognized throughout all people. Okay. One other comment I'll do once we get to that verse. So I haven't read any of the chat. I'm hoping that I should read it. Let's see. Okay. What I'm going to do is, who should I ask? Paula, you want to read the chat for us? Not the chat. You want to read the psalm for us, please?
Sure.
Okay.
For the chief musician, a psalm, a song of David. May God arise. May God's enemies be scattered. May those who hate God flee before God. As smoke is dispersed by the wind, so disperse them. As wax melts before fire, so shall the wicked perish before God. But the righteous shall rejoice and exult before God. They shall be happy and joyful. Sing to God, sing praises to God's name. Extol God who rides the clouds. The Lord is God's name. Exult in God's presence, the parent of orphans, the champion of widows, God in God's holy habitation. God restores the lonely to their home, sets free the imprisoned, safe and sound, while the rebellious must live in a parched land. God, when you went forth before your people, when you marched through the wasteland, Selah. The earth trembled, the heavens poured down rain at the sight of God. Sinai too quaked at the sight of God, the God of Israel. You, God, poured down a generous rain and refreshed your weary heritage. Then your people settled there. In your goodness, God, you provided for the needy.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go back a sec to a few verses or to the beginning. Okay, so you could see it's very, even though they're not sure who wrote this and it's they say that it came from Sinai, somehow David's name got into it. It was sung for the chief musician, and it really shows a deep belief in God that will rejoice, that God will help us no matter where, that enemies will be scattered, but God will always help us. We'll be joyful. I personally like the words that we read in verse 4. Yasisu b'simcha, that you'll really rejoice in all of it. And actually, in this one sentence, there are 3 different words related to being happy. Yismechu, v'yasisu b'simcha, and also the beginning, the tzadikim. And we're singing. Many people can relate to things through song, and that you don't have to be the highest of the high to connect with God. God is our parent of all the orphans, so no one is ever alone, helps the widows. And this is what really hit me, verse 7, where I'm like, wow, this can really relate to like someone in the pandemic. God restores the lonely to their homes. Think about so many people that if we didn't have this Zooms, they'd be alone and they wouldn't see other people. Just think of the time. I think Audrey has said this, or somebody often, every couple of days we have somebody, but it always hits me more when someone who's seen life, has really experienced life. Someone like Audrey, I don't know if she's on today and I hope I'm not embarrassing her, but that she's seen life. And to think that if this had happened when she was a young girl or when any of us were, me too, we wouldn't have been connected like this. We'd be stuck in our homes, having a phone, probably arguing over who got to see the phone, going stir crazy. Whereas people can see each other, even if you are lonely in your own home. That hopefully we have created a time that people can be together during this pandemic, but it's a lonely time. And then the word Selah. So Selah here, verse 8, and we've spoken a lot about it, is that it could be that it's doing an emphasis. It could be that it's a musical interlude, that at this time it was a way to create an impressive pause with like a different type of music. Like you watch these TV shows that they have like a lot of music going on to like put the theme, or even if you watch these shows on like HGTV where some of them have certain music for what's going on in the show. It's a type of music that went on, or the music played so you can pause as what was said to you, and that you can meditate on the previous fact. And not only is it that it's humans that are relating to God, but it's all of earth, the earth trembling, the heavens poured down the rain. When I was reading this and the Sinai quaked, there was just, I just read on the Weather Channel that there was a huge earthquake in Mexico. And the rains always remind me of what happened in Hurricane Sandy. It devastated the Jersey Shore, that it poured down a generous rain, which sometimes rain is such a blessing during a drought. And that when we need it, God brings it. But then when there's a generous rain sounds like it's a needed rain. The heavens poured down rain reminds me of a type of hurricane. So that God brings it to us. You provided for the needy. And I thought this was a good way to end, that we're all needy in different ways. It could be that we don't even realize it. Could be that, you know, literally you're needy and you need food or money, or there are people out there not in homes. Or the needy is that you just need the companionship. So the Psalms brings it together. And why do we read the Psalms? To connect with each other, to connect with God, to connect with community, our past, our present, our future. And so Debbie, I don't know which verse you're referring to, the coherence of the Psalm. Oh, and the meaning of many of its passages are uncertain. Okay, yeah. That's why I had to, like, usually I just read one book and get most of what I need, but this one's a little more confusing. Another reason why I divided it up into 3. You'll see that the next part becomes almost like verses 8 to 19, which we're stuck in the middle where I ended now, is like the past is reviewed. It's a review of what went on in the Exodus from Egypt, the conquest of Canaan. It's as Debbie said, a little uncertain. So stay tuned, as my last Psalm said, that we can learn more about the rest of the Psalm the next couple of days. And if anyone has any quick comments, I'll open it up to comments. If not, I believe, Faye, if you could read, I feel like I asked someone to start reading the list for Kaddish this week, and I honestly don't remember who. So you can be brave and tell me who I forgot. I apologize, or Faye can just continue reading if she's okay doing that. Are you? Okay, all right. Oh. And you just have to unmute yourself. And as she does that, I'll just add Raymond Raskin, who we heard about. We extend condolences. And Joan Lowenstein has the yurt site for her Zadie, Philip Spector, today.
Okay.
And my dad, Louis Cohen.
And that's a yurt site?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
We remember Evelyn Seelig, Sue Press, Leona Elligberg, First Sergeant Amit Ben Yigal, Jesus Valina, David Copeland, Louis Hoser, Ivan Stanton, Julie Wynn, Louis Berlin, Hilda Stern, Sylvia Krause, Hope Dellen, Jack Honowitz, Lillian Benjamin, Yeshaya Ruvain HaKohain Ben Acharon Barivka, Ava Fields, Mina Asserman, Richard Marhit, Lillian Rappaport, Eden Rich, Edon Ronan Greenstein, Susan Berman Levine, Abraham Ben Hirsch Lieb, Lillian Tobias, Alicia Niemchura, Jenny Zlotnick, Helen Goldberg, Mark Schwartz, Dr. J. Marlin, Linda Hornick, Rabbi Sigma Faye Corin, Donna Spector, Laurie Cabot, Alan Feldman, Samuel Ben Chaim, Andrew Kurtech, Rabbi Ken Roseman, Hannah Rich, Stephen Lazarus, Moisha Miller, Stephen Carlin, Shimon Ben Pesach, Dolores Megan, Richard Marek, Doris Kaufman Shaman, Benjamin Zimmerman, Moshe Eliezer, Phyllis Haas, Thornton Soup Saperstein, Dr. Merle Goldman, Ruth Simmons, Moshe Shrega HaKohen Ben Bacha Mina, Herb Lubars, Rita Rifkin Libman, Julie Harwich, Georgia Young, Allison Stopel Weaver, Herman Heinitz, Harold I. Abramson, Faye Grossman, Pinchas Ben Avraham, Moshe Edel Ben Malcha B'Shmuel, Judy Berger, Barbara Redner, Sylvia Kaplan, Madeline Saul, Peter Letterman, Vera Gittin, Rabbi Micah Kaplan, Jack Fisher, Sarah Bat Avraham, Russell Bay, and Raymond Raskin.
We extend condolences to all, and if anyone has any other names to add, please unmute yourself and say them at this time.
Zev Ben Yosef,
And is that for a yahrzeit or for
Yurtzeit.
yahrzeit? Okay. Any other names?
Louis Cohen.
Okay. So we're going to rise shortly for the recitation of the Mourner's Kaddish. The way Zoom's working now, I haven't figured out how to unmute you myself. So you have to unmute you individually, each person. So we can say the Mourner's Kaddish together and we can respond to you. So I'm hoping that everyone who needs to say Kaddish has unmuted themselves. And we'll begin together. Yitz Gadal, Yitz Kadash, Shmei, Ba, Yalma, Yivra, Yivrei, Yamli, Yechon, Uvayomechon, Zechol, Israel, Agala, Bizman, Mariv, Imru,
Amen.
Yehi, Shemei, Rabba, Olam, Maya, Yitzhak, Ishtabach, Yitzhar, Yitnaseh, Yitzhadar, Yitzaleh, Yitzhalal, Shemei, Yisha, Rihu, Le'ela, Mikol, Avishirata, Shvechata, Amiran, Alma, Imru,
Yehi
Shlama,
Rabba Nishmaya
Echaim, Aleinu, Al Kol Yisrael, Imru, Amen. Oseh
Yaseh Shalom
Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, Imru, Amen. Hope everyone has a good day. Look for your mail for Women's League. I know that the Shabbat message came out, Yasher Koach to Esther. Makes me think about pomegranates even more. Actually, I came to the last page in my diary today, my notebook from my Psalms class. You know, I have these manual books from Yair Emanuel. And my next one, ironically, I don't know if Esther's on, has pomegranates on it. So it's like, wow, and she wrote about pomegranates. So it was very cool. And we should be sending out something shortly about convention. We're working on that. If you haven't registered yet, I'm sure that was what Margie was about to say, so I won't take it away from her.
Okay.
All you.
No, it's
All yours.
okay. Again, every week we have something else going on. So register for convention. There's no reason that every one of you and everyone you know that's a Women's League member, sisterhood member, can participate in convention. They can just literally be in their jeans. It's a non-dress up unless you feel like it. It's free. Just why would you not want to hear the social action plenum with speakers that are fabulous? And we have installation and we have a concert at night. There are so many, and workshops in the afternoon. Every single member, when they're sitting out there and they're not active in their sisterhood, but they're still part of your sisterhood, we should have 20,000. We should need Zoom lines that are fit for 10, 15, 20,000 people. Everyone should take advantage of this opportunity. You don't have to fly anywhere. And if you want to know what Women's League is about, this is the time that every one of you as ambassadors to Women's League can really say to every single sisterhood member, do not miss this. Do not. There's not a reason in the world. No one's going anywhere. And why would you not want to take advantage of a fabulous, fabulous day? And you can come and go in the course of the day. There's breaks in between. We put in coffee breaks and wine breaks and dinner breaks. And if a session doesn't interest you, so you don't go to that session. I can't imagine which one that would be because they're all going to be wonderful. But just really, we need every one of you to go back to your sisters and say to your friends, register. You don't want to miss this. So please do that. Of course, support the Journal, support Women's League for all that we do. It really is how we've risen and done something we've always done as far as Zoom goes, but really taken it to the 10th level. So have a safe day. Keep watching for our books program, our film program, our this program. We're going to do poetry after convention. We'll come back to poetry and the challah baking and everything else. But have a safe day. Have a wonderful day. And let's get more people off that Mishaberach list and not on the other one. Let's get them healthy so we can bless their good health. And we will see you all